So in this revision tutorial, we're going to look at the poem In Cardigan Market by Brian Morris. So the poem begins with a reference to Auntie Jane Fish, and this name implies a familial sense of affection, perhaps a sense of familiarity. The word fish indicates her line of work as a fish seller, and the poem's title gives us an idea of the sort of environment portrayed within this poem, and the reader is able to visualize this kind of stall within a market. So as the poem continues, we've got the consonant R sounds in rough, raw-boned, grin and grumble, and the alliteration of these R sounds perhaps are made a little bit more impactful by the fact that they continue over several lines and add to a sense of liveliness, although not painting an altogether too flattering an image of this character. So the next simile that Morris chooses, like a thorn in ale, indicates that the sound of Auntie Jane Fish's voice is not that pleasant. It's quite harsh on the ear, but it does indicate a sense of authority. The next phrase then sees Morris continue his bombardment of the reader's senses. We've got sensory language which appeals to the sense of smell and is quite potent and pungent. The reference to the phosphorescent flesh again indicates that the smell is so potent it seems to change even the light around her, and this sense of smell intensifies. And then we start to think about how other people react to this character. So we've got the reference here to the traders know that men come for miles, and this is a hint towards their place within the community. And we see a further sense of detachment here between the speaker and the traders. We know that the speaker is not a trader and is not one of the men who come from miles around to buy her fish. So the vulgar herring and the vicious eel, we start to see almost sort of personified descriptions of the fish stock, which perhaps connect to the image of Auntie Jane Fish presented earlier in the poem, except here it's the fish who are vulgar and vicious. And again, this alliteration suggests that the fish become animated and are injected with a sense of character or a sense of life. The final line then, richly alive among the silvery dead. There's almost a sense of juxtaposition here. She is richly alive among the silvery dead. There's a contrast between life and death that is far clearer here than it has been at any other point throughout the poem. What's interesting when you consider the form of this poem is the fact that the poem is actually a Shakespearean sonnet, which means its structure is very clear and very rigid. So in a Shakespearean sonnet, we would have 14 lines with a rhyming couplet at the end, 3 quatrains of 4 lines each, which follow the rhyming pattern here, A, B, B, A. Each line has roughly 10 syllables and is written in iambic pentameter, which means every other stress is emphasized. And there's also a volta, a turning point, around halfway through the poem. Notice the way traders know interrupts the rhythm slightly by jutting out at the end of its line, changes the beat and interrupts the rhyme scheme, and introduces a new idea, a new direction into the